biodiversity of aquatic insects is again a very interesting topic, which is not very much touched or unheard of in many seminars. And so I think this is a very apt topic which Sir is going to highlight us and let us get enlightened in the next 1 or 2 hours. And I also thank all the participants and welcome them to this FTP program. It is a 6-day program. We'll be having the same timings from 3 to 4, and the ID is also the same, so you can join in using the same Zoom link. And I hope this will be a very useful FTP for all those who have joined us. Thank you so much, and I wish this FTP program a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, dear ma'am, for your pleasant words of welcome. May I now call upon Dr. B. Geetam, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, Children College, to introduce the resource person.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So, good afternoon to all. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. So, I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Bala Subramanian, Associate Professor, Tyagaraja College, Madurai. Sir has completed, there is many national and international conferences and seminars. He underwent JRF, CSIR and SRA in Laila College for 6 months, 36 months. And he guided 6 PhD, and he now he is guiding 2 PhDs. He completed 4 PhD. And then UGC project, he completed 2 projects, and ongoing 1 project, the taxonomy, biotechnology, and distribution and assessing conservation priorities of mayflies. And Sir has completed 6 books. There is and also in editorial board in the chapter editorial board. He is a member in a chapter editorial board, and around 50 publications, national and international papers. So very warm welcome, sir, to our resource person. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sparing with us, sir, your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. So now the session is handed over to you.
Okay.
Participants, please mute your microphones, please. Participants, please mute your microphones. GN sir.
Ma'am, all the microphones are muted.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
What's my screen setting? First is a Namaka. They stop. Madam, I could not able to sharing my screen.
Sir, actually you are the co-host, so you can share your screen, sir. It seems that your bandwidth is slow, sir.
Yes, yeah, correct, yeah.
Yeah. Ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, better I think you can get the PowerPoint from the resource person and someone can share, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Because
Sir,
it's showing for me that the resource person's bandwidth is low.
Sir, can you just send the PowerPoint to this mail, sir? I just POCIQAC@gmail.com, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. They are asking
You just
to
send your PPTs. We'll share it from here. POCIQAC@gmail.com, sir. GN, sir, just check the mail.
Yes, ma'am. I will check, ma'am.
Madam, I sent her.
Okay, sir, I just check it, sir.
Okay.
Sir, I have got your mail. Just a second, sir. I will download it and I will present it.
It's not taking the whole file. It's a very big file.
Ma'am, is it visible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, can you see
Yeah.
it, sir? Sir, is it visible for you, sir?
Ma'am, is it changing?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am,
yes.
is it getting changed?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Okay. It's visible. So okay, this is I can view this first slide, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can start, sir.
Okay, can I start now?
Yes, sir. Yes, you can start.
Okay. Most Honorable Dr. Chakalingam of this college secretary, respected Birbasu of the VS institution, the convener of this entomology, recent trends in entomology, convener Dr. Ratika, and organizing secretary of this program, Dr. Keegan, and the fellow teachers, and students and friends. It's a great opportunity for me to share with my knowledge the 50 years of my experience in the field of entomology, early from the first ESC. I was one of my mentor, Dr. Sivaramakrishnan. He is one of the pioneer in these aquatic insect studies. He is the Nobel laureate of these aquatic insects. Down to earth, he knows that the whole aquatic insect program. So he was introduced to me in the early stage of my career into this aquatic insect diversity and taxonomy and molecular taxonomy and biomonitoring program throughout the Western Ghats biodiversity regions. This is one of these very interesting topic, which is the horned flea, okay, involved in this type of studies, because the diversity and conservation strategies of aquatic insects, that is Ephemerata Plecoptera, one major component of the aquatic ecosystem, the running water, floating and plenty waters. Okay, so that in the context of the Western Ghats, how these aquatic insects are distributed, how these insects are contributing to the conservation in Western Ghats regions. It is very quite interesting. I think everyone knows that what is insects. The insects are within the organism, they're divided into segmentations. Okay, insects. Okay, so the body is divided into three regions: head, thorax, abdomen. I think everybody knows that what is insect. Even then, when you go for these other orders, okay, the phylum in the arthropods, they have the six-legged and more than 8-legged insects. Okay, when you go for this, the arachnids and myriapods, okay, which is the earlier the insects which are living in the earth, which is contributing from that the aquatic insects are developed. Okay, this is the insects after Atericota. Atericota means in the absence of winged insects. Okay, only the 5 orders from the absence of winged insects: Protura, Tipura, Columbola, Lysinura, and Archinata. These are all these the Atericots order. So after this Lysinura, there is another winged insect in this Precambrian period. Okay, so that these insects are winged insects are developed. That is called the Ephemeraptera. This is the Paleopterus order. This Paleopterus order, they cannot be able to fold their wings over the abdomen. Okay, that's why it's the first born baby, the newborn baby, they cannot be able to stretch their hand, legs like that. Because these insects are winged insects that forms from the terrestrial fauna, the Onychophora and Echinodermata. Okay, so that from that they came from. And Annelida is the previous one. From that, these insects are aroused. Okay, so that these winged insects are first occupying in these aquatic regions. Okay, that's why this is a very interesting group of insects. How these insects are diverse in the context of Western Ghats in university studies. Okay, this is the contributions to all the human society. Okay, how these the insects are helpful for the humans, and it's helpful for these other ecosystem services. Okay, next slide, please. Some next slides. Yeah, this is the necklace of taxonomic studies of meso and microphyletic fauna, including the aquatic fauna it is compared to the megafauna. Okay, we know all the megafauna. But there is taxonomically the negligence of the mesozoan, the macropanthic and micropanthic, these aquatic faunal systems are little known in India and elsewhere. Okay, so that the most of these scientists are now concentrating on the this aquatic system, how these systems are working out. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this the why these species taxonomic studies in aquatic insects are very important, indispensable, and urgent in an era of the human-induced mega extinctions, precipitating this biodiversity crisis. The first, we can go for this the taxa, which is some taxa is ideal objects for the phylogenetic, biogeographic, the phylogeographic analysis, and taxa in hidden evolutionary refugia. So the refugees of these studies have been carried out through this aquatic insect fauna diversity. So that the precise taxonomic studies is indispensable for the prioritizations of taxa. Okay, so that this taxa is somewhat quite interesting to study all these the aquatic systems, which also one of these contributions of the bioindicators, which is a potential role in bioassessment of the multifaceted anthropogenic pollution impacts. So that everywhere in the Western Ghats, especially in southern Western Ghats, especially in Tamil Nadu, from starting from the Kanyakumari to the Nilgiris, Kodalur, there are most of the areas are occupied by the human influence. The intensive logging as well as intensive agricultural practices over this area, so that they are disturbing all this aquatic fauna as well as the megafauna in this region, so that all this the diversities are threatened now. Okay, some taxa vectors of the human diseases also we have recorded in part of this area. Wherever this in this chest pool of this in Western Ghats regions, the tree holes where there's a water slug, and some of this area, cultivated areas bigger by regions, we have lot of species, vectoral species are recorded, along with the human diseases have been studied previously. Okay, the ecosystem services also carried out by these aquatic insects, the processing of all this organic matter as a recycling and cycling of the nutrients of aquatic insect systems, which is degraded into the coarse particulated matter and the fine particulated matter, which are very, very important for this organic loads, which are able to feed and it's cater the other aquatic insects development. Okay, some of these the taxa, the effective biocontrol agents of the aquatic weeds. Okay, some of these weeds, this about hyacinth. One of these notorious weed among these 18 different weeds in India. Okay, one of the notorious weed is this is Aquamia crassicus, this water hyacinth. Okay, so that for that control, there is different kinds of insects are introduced to India. Acarnanian abruki, this is two Australian species, which is introduced to India for this the controlling of the aquatic weeds. Other one is the food. It's also linked with the fish food chain. Okay, this is the food chain which is indicating this participating in this fish food chain. And finally, you can go for this indicators of the habitat health and climate change. Okay, before the 40 years back, we are visited in all over the Western Ghats, starting from the Mumbai, okay, near Pune, to this and the end of this Western Ghats regions like the Kanyakumari. Okay, so that there is a lot of faunal assemblage, and the healthy of the ecosystems are well during this 40 years before. Now we are visited in 2017 to 2021 in different part of the Western Ghats area. We have these projects on the MLPF. That project, which is studies the healthy of the ecosystem, the entire stage of the the whole Western Ghats. Okay, we could understand that from these aquatic assemblages like the ephemeral traffic, there is complexes, which is very pathetic. Okay, so that everywhere, especially in Karnataka. Okay, Karnataka is a well established forest. Even then, there are disturbance, only the 60% of the disturbance there in this area, in Karnataka. But when you go for these, after crossing the Karnataka, there is other regions of Kerala. Okay, that is the Malabar coastal area of the Kerala, the Western Ghats, which is mostly 80% of these areas are completely disturbed. They are converting into monoculture forests, like tea plantations, cashew plantations, coffee plantations. Okay, only like this upper regions of this the head of the mountain only the leave the certain only the certain only savannas there. Okay, there's no only this the batches of forests are maintained by the Kerala Forest Government. They cannot reach us. That area is also not cultivable for this tea and other species, monoculture forest. So that forest is completely damaged by the government in the area. And Tamil Nadu is, you cannot imagine that also is a complete trees from animalized to the Nilgiris to Capcamarin. Okay, the completely occupied and then they're disturbed with the monoculture forest, as well as there's a lot of tourist impact in this area. Okay, there are a lot of threats to aquatic insects. Okay, that is very, very important. Okay, so that it's very, very hard to say that before the 40 years of assemblages, diversity, abundance, and richness of this species, now it's completely threatened. Only the 20% of the faunal assemblages now we caught from that the sholas as well as the streams and the rivers. Okay, that much is the pathetic conditions are turned up. Okay, in future. Okay, there's no insects, no aquatic insects are contributing to this area. Only the few weapon species like Simulium and other this mosquito species are just in these forest regions, which is occupied more. Okay, wherever you go, you can get this the biting of various this is aedes as well as other species of the mosquitoes nowadays occupied everywhere in this forest. Next slide, please. Okay, you know that the birds, the water content is 0.1% occupying only 0.8% of this earth surface. Okay, so that 0.1% the water occupying the 0.8% of this world's earth surface, only that much is only the water, this fresh water is occupied. Okay, however, this very tiny fraction of the water, okay, which supports the 0.1 million species, okay, out of 1.8 million species so far, it's not, it's there in this in the world. Okay, this only is the 0.1 million species of identified and recorded. Okay, only 6% of the all described species have been studied so far. Now, say when you go for this study, they are documenting in everywhere. Okay, except only the country where the India-like country, They are not recording and documenting evidence of various aquatic species. Few species are lost, and then they are not even stored in they are not maintained in various funding agencies like the Zoology Service, Botanical Service, and the other governmental agencies, which are not properly maintaining this faunal assemblages already recorded species. Now, we could not be able to compare this species with the already available species. Whatever the 50 years of service, okay, we could done this the different collections employed in the various Western Ghats area alone. We are contributing. It's a lot of documenting evidence to, and then they have produced the UGC and the MIF and the DST. Okay, we submitted for that documentations. Okay, so later of the documentation process in India, it's a pathetic. So another one is a fragile ecosystem. Whenever you disturb the forest, whenever you disturb any aquatic ecosystem within this, maintain the forest or anywhere else in the water system, even Tamirabari River, or you can go for this perennial river there, and then Kaveri River, as well as other rivers are temporary, or this ephemeral rivers also there, completely disturbed by various industries and an agricultural way, plumbing application based, and this is the domestic waste also. Just they are diverting all the domestic waste system, which all lead to biodiversity loss. That's why is all the endemic taxa will be embroiled by this action of this human impact. Okay, so this experiencing just kind of the diversity is far greater than those of terrestrial systems. So it's a declining biodiversity in the aquatic system. In both, we were more disturbing these areas where this the water flow systems in India and elsewhere, especially in the southern India. Next slide, please. Okay, this characteristics assemblages of forensic macroinvertebrates, mostly aquatic insects. Not only there are 13 different orders of aquatic insects which are vital role in maintaining this biotic integrity of lentic and biotic water system. Okay, they are all very essential for the linking of the feast food chain, sensitive to the biomonitoring tools. Several keystone species of rendering the important ecosystem services, which is the organisms or the macrobenthos, which are involved in the conversion of this organic matter into CPOM and FPOM and ultrafine particulate organic matter, coarse organic matter, and FPOM, fine particulate organic matter, which is spiraling the nutrients in the zoonotic system and the lentic system, which are supporting various insects populations and diversity of insects in the particular area. Okay, so several charismatic taxa also loosened because of we are interfering with the forest, we are interfering with the lotic and the lentic system. We are disturbing and the dumping of a lot of waste and recast and waste into the aquatic system, which are all the twinkling of the whole aquatic the diversity population in the earth. Okay, so that these aquatic insects are there. These are all ideal objects for this phylogenetic and biogeographical analysis. How these insect species are capable. Suppose when we are analyzing the insect species in southern part of India, the same like species are nearby the adjacent of the country like Sri Lanka and Myanmar and part of this is below the China. Okay, that's the eastern part of China. And then when you go for this, the Malaysia, Singapore, this is very nearby area which is connecting our links. How this India is came from. Okay, that is a connected link, so that the phylogenetic and the biogeographical analysis which can be done through this without any needs of fossilized record, without many means of the genetic identification, sequence study. We could identify through this, only through this insights, because these insights are first winged insights in the earth, so that the aquatic insects are more contributed into the water system of the earth. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, three important aquatic insect biodiversity. This is a threat to the aquatic insect biodiversity. So the global bioclimatic change, that is one of these recent studies conducted in many parts of the world. The glacier, enhancing this rise of the temperature, the losing of the aquatic biodiversity, even this, the many vertebrate species, aquatic vertebrate species, very minute aquatic, the microbenthos. Okay, this all the link limits the food chain, so that if food chain losses, automatically even the vertebrate population also shrink in the earth. Okay, so that complete there is a changes in the faunal diversity along with the aquatic system. Okay, the habitat fragmentations by the action of these the people who go for this aquatic ecosystems that are disturbed by, and forest ecosystems also disturbed by the cultivating the monoculture forests and making them the fragmentations. That's why this is whenever we make the fragmentations and making the fire in these different forest regions, all the inside the predators and then small insects and the small this reptiles all moving from this inside the forest and the buffer zone of this outside the forest. So it's also disturbing the whole, the human inhabitants. Human lifestyles are completely disturbed by this kind of fragmentation and degradation of the forest, and this by this it's a climatic change, so that there is a lot of landslide in no country, especially in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Karnataka, and elsewhere in this foreign regions also. There is a destructions of the whole the floral population. The losing of biodiversity of macrobenthos, because they are depending on these the leaf litter systems which are flow into the stream system, which is modified by these the insects, so that these insects also the food recycling cannot be done properly, so that there is a loss of the threads to aquatic biodiversity. Another one of these important points we already known. Okay, is criteria. It's a water pollution. Water pollutions everywhere. We are talking all these, the materials, all these, the recursion materials. Okay, whatever these we are domestic waste, agricultural waste. Okay, so that everything is dumped into this river systems. Okay, the river getting polluted, automatically there is asphyxial conditions prevail in the water. So that the oxygen, this is the BOD and the COD, the level will be decreased in the water system. So ultimately, it dwindles this population of this aquatic in this aquatic systems. So that the role of systems, the role of the nutrient cycling can be altered. The population can be altered. The algal the blooms are occurring in the region. Okay, so ultimately, this artificial conditions, even this macro invertebrates and vertebrates also the last habitats. So ultimately, the no populations, there is a trend for the population. The losing of the biodiversity,
Okay, you know that there is the IUCN is the record every single minute we are losing the 3 species from the earth. Okay, that much is um, we are just losing the species diversity in earth. Okay, that is a major threat by the human science and the water pollution. And another one is the exotic species invasions. Okay, some of the species are invaded into the riverine systems as well as in this stream systems, which are feeding on all the aquatic the insect population. Okay, there are completely eliminated the diversity of the insect populations from everywhere. Okay, that is the invasion of the weeds. Okay, which also the like water hyacinth, Otilia, the Alice Boyd is when you go for this Christia, and no, there is another they call it classifiers. Okay, this is all contributing to it's observed to all this, this water pollution. So it's also completely beat the aquatic population, which is available in this ecosystem. Okay, other political impacts. This is the major role of anthropogenic activities everywhere. Okay, every ecosystem, every impoundments like dams, rivers, streams, and the ponds. Everywhere there is anthropogenic, which is just dumping of all the materials, dumping of their coals, dumping of their waste, dumping of whatever it is, our domestics. We are using this most of these the different kinds of the chemicals for this shampoos, there's a detergent, and the bathroom washing. Because we are releasing every day, okay, in millions of liters into the riverine systems and the aquatic system that causes the complete invades of the various benthic populations. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the strategy. Okay, the recommendations in 2020, safeguarding freshwater life beyond. There is a 2 global biodiversity framework by this European Union. They have the experience. They have the drafting of the global biodiversity framework. Okay, so that on this biological diversity strategy of European Union. Okay, so that this is one of the 2 European Union as well as the global biodiversity framework of this crossroad with the biodiversity conservation. Okay, so that there is a 15 special recommendations for adapting this biodiversity, biodiversity of aquatic ecosystems in the various places. Okay, so that they also address the certain topics like invasive species, integral the water resources management, strategic conservation planning, conservation planning, data management, and so on. Okay, to this to monitor the aquatic ecosystem. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is the riparian. Previous slides, please. Previous slides. There's only streams. Okay, next slide, please. The next slide.
Yes.
Okay, this is a
this one.
Elements. Yeah, this is the the riparian land use elements. Okay, so that how these areas we are visiting in the different places where they are previously it was without any contamination. Okay, the fragile water, crystal clear, pristine water they have been maintained in this different part of this area. Now we are visited in these different places of this area in Western Ghats. Now everywhere they have the tourist impacts, anthropogenic impacts. They are tech baths, using of various the detergents, bathing as well as the shampoos and then other activities. Okay, they're doing it with this region. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah. This is one of the phases where you can see this all the phases. So this is only the Western Ghats region. So this is the Kurangani region. So that is no, this is a riffle zones in Valpara area. Next slide, please. Yeah, this is the area where it is near Talakavadi, near Bangalore. We have considered this insects in this interior forest regions. Okay, there is a lot of this is the vegetations, complete vegetations are available. There is a rich diversity in these regions. Next slide, please. Okay, here also it's only in this the area where there's a forest regions in Karnataka. Okay, this area is getting rain. The birds in this, in India itself. Previously it was Sravanji. Now it's Agumbe is receiving the lot of rainfall in Karnataka regions. Okay. Next slide, please. How forest the fauna is there? Yeah, this is also the nearby Sringeri. Okay, we have collected the Sringeri is near Mangalore. We have collected this species. This is aquatic insects. One is this is we visited in summer season. Okay, how this water is soaked this time. Okay, and it's crystal clear water near Sringeri and other areas of the Western Ghats, Central Western Ghats. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, this is also you can see this. This is the regions where different habitat regions. Here, it's crystal clear water. Okay, here this Munnar, and then we could see this kind of the habitats which are not disturbed by the humans. One is this regions where the shoal forest, that water and reach up okay, we make light trap in this interior forest. This upper slide. Okay, we could collect this more type of adults. We could collect this light trap method for this identification of aquatic fauna. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a part of the dams, the nearby dams, and then this area. So next slide, please. Yeah, this is the diversity of in this the EPTs, the ephemeral traplicopter complexes. This is one of the orders. Three orders are very much involved in this water pollution, indicating water pollution, and which are contributing for this the nutrient cycling in the ecosystem. Okay, other than these microbial organisms, algae and fungi, okay, this EPT is contributing to some more than 60% of the nutrient cycling. This is the EPTs are involved. The remaining 40% involved by the bacteria and fungi and as well as the masses, aquatic algae, okay, which is involved in this converting the nutrient cycling. Okay, so that there is a different, the global level contribution of this ephemeral traplicopter complexes. Even the families, the 40 families in this global level, and 460 families, and 3,000, around 500, 3,500 families, the species so far have been recorded. And Trichoptera is more than that, there is a 3,500 species, and Trichoptera, there is a 16,266 species so far recorded in this world. But in India, we can go for this very, very little. Okay, the work has been done so far in India and elsewhere, especially in southern India. We have done a lot of the work. The ephemeral is 150 species. About 150 species, more than 100 species, more than 120 species we have. Only the southern Ghats regions. Okay, southern Western Ghats regions, and the remaining only from India and the Himalayan regions. Very little area. Okay, very few. The scientists, they are doing these studies of Ephemeroptera, Trichoptera. Only the Trichoptera, some people are involved in the whole population. Either the stages of the larval and adult stages, they have not done thoroughly. Only the little bit they have done. One is the adult, the taxonomy they have done in this in these regional regions. So that we have also in the next to China and Thailand, India have contributing. We already know that this Western Ghats is the 18th mega hotspot in the world, global hotspot in the world. Okay, so that we may have a lot of species. Okay, no persons are working in this area. Okay, only few people, only the Madurai as people, only we are working for this. More than 90 species of these explorative birds we published in a contribution to the Trichoptera. Other only few people are only Punjab area. They are working in this Trichoptera. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, what is the importance of the mayflies? The mayflies, why we are calling the mayflies in Europe region, Europe, in month of May, the flies are enormously emerges out in the night time, which are in these, which are hindering this traffic. Okay, that much is like we have the termite adult population slide, so that in India. Okay, like that, there is the plenty of these mayflies emerge during this month of May, which is when you just switch on the light in the night in the roadside or street side, the entire the car will be closed by this insect. That much is the biggest problem of is the vehicular movement. It's also their small parts are those. Is floating on in the air, which caused some problems to the human life. So that, but other than that, this is only 2% of this, only the demerits of this populations. But when you go for this insects, Ephemeroptera, grubs, which is already we talked about this ecosystem services, fish food chain, biological indicator, which is indicate the health of the ecosystem and health of the forest and the health of this, the climate change. Okay, we can also study the link with the biodiversity, phylogeny of the entire globe, as well as the distributional and the prioritization of conservation. Also, we can do with this population of the population. Next slide, please. Okay, ecosystem services. What are the ecosystem services rendered by this PT? The cultural services, market tool, provisioning services, the anti-tumor activity, laboratory model organisms, some of the articles, some of the work they have done with this organism, which is a model organism. And anti-tumor activity. There are some organisms containing the anti-tumor substances, which they are just call out this the secondary metabolites. From that, they're preparing these anti-tumor drugs. And regulatory services, the regulation of the climate, if the insects are there in abundance, how the climate should be. Okay. And water purification, these insects are eating this all the kind of the pollution. Okay, only very certain species are which living only in this good condition and crystal clear water. When you mix with the little bit the polluted domestic as well as any agricultural waste dumped into this water system. Okay, drastically reduce the population, so that also they're doing this functions, ecosystem function, and supporting the services like nutrient cycling and the primary productivity in this aquatic system. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the more than just fish food, the ecosystem services provided by the insects, which also only 1% of the planet's surface of the water content, which is the host, 10% of the non-species we can get into that. Nowadays, around 20% of the freshwater invertebrates are threat to extinction because of already I have told you that many the threads of the factors which are interfering with aquatic insects and aquatic macrobenthos, which is finally that ecosystem is deteriorated. This also is eliminating from this particular diversity. Okay, you see the flexible systematic literature review. Also, there is some studies we have studied that region of this world. You could understand that the aquatic ecosystems are completely spoiled by this anthropogenic activity. The wide ranging of decomposition cycle and food for wider range of the species. Okay, even human and other animals. Okay, so that's also lost by this. If it's dwindling this organism by this other, the value of the ecosystem also reduced. Okay, so that very, very important for this conserve this kind of organisms in this aquatic ecosystem. Next slide. Okay, this is the Nephiproptera picaptra and the Precaptra apocalypse. Okay, apocalypse in the sense, okay, there is a thread and then it is losing of the habitat. It's lead to the it's threatening to the entire globe of the earth. Okay, so that this is very, very important. The Nephi number stopped by COP since 2012 and threatening the food chain because we are dumping into a lot of food materials and then polluted materials into the plastic bottles and even the coffee industry, the tea industry, that releases the all this, this secondary metabolites into the riverine system that also controlling this and reducing the colonization of microvertebrates in these regions. So that because of this, the incredible consequences is that the decline in the populations of insect-eating birds, frogs, birds and fishes and the small invertebrates like predaceous bugs also threatening to this aquatic ecosystem. Next slide, please. Okay, this is diversity in India and Western Ghats. Okay, leave it. This is the different families are species. How the families are distributed. The BTs, one of the families are distributed at the BT day. This is the more number of species are distributed in India for the Western Ghats. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this already, this is the same, okay, these numbers, if you put it to the graph, okay, it's a BT data contributing the larger Nimepo, okay, which is more and more, heterogeneity and definitely, these are more number, we are this studied regions of the Indian subcontinent. Next. Okay, this is the adult mayfly, okay, which is which also this is one of these the insect species, the first winged insects after emerged as adults, their the mouth part should be completely atrophied. There's a completely sealed. Okay, whatever the energy they have in this early stage of different stages have, so only they emerge as adults. After a few hours, only 1 hour or 2 hours, once the finding is either partner, male and female, the mate and then they die, the males, and then females, after mating, immediately within 10 minutes or 15 minutes, they find their house, they find habitats, and then lay their eggs and then dies. Okay, that's why this is ephemera. Ephemera means it's a short-living insects. Okay, they cannot be able to spread their wings over the abdomen. That is one of these Phylogenomic characters, like the dragonflies. These insects are the coexistent species from early Earth the formation. First received the rain itself. After that, this single insects, this Ephemeraptera came up. Okay. The next slide, please. Okay, this is the nymph of these Ephemeraptera larvae. Next. Okay, this is the different species we could record in this all over the regions. Okay, more than 100 species we recorded. This is one of these few species of Leptophilidae. This is the only one family, the very biggest family all over the world. Even India itself is one of the species. Next, please. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the another one of the families that are distributed in India. This is not the newly recorded. So only after 2014, 15 only they would record the new species. It's not recorded so far in India. This is the all first new recorded insects. Okay, new genus also. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, these all these one of these, it's all these very, very ancient insects. Okay, so that also is distributed all over India, especially in Western Ghats. Okay, this is a different diversity. This is the tiger tailed insects. Okay, it's all distributed. If you take out from this water, within a few minutes they will die. Okay, mostly these insects find only the high water flow regions. The rich oxygen, the rich areas, these insects can be found. Okay, you can found in other areas, even near Tirunelveli or other areas, after other areas, you can find this single insect species because it requires this pristine water, it requires the microclimatic conditions, it requires this lot of nutrient cycling and the litter ecosystem. Only they found above this Kadana river, all these, the dams of Pamanasam or Kadana or many dams around this southern West Ghats regions. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is same. This is the adult of the species. Okay, next. This is a different BTD family. Okay, next slide, please. This is a newly recorded. Okay, this is also the species, the Plicoptera. Plico means is in the stonefly. Hundreds of the stones they are living in. This is the adult of stoneflies. It's also the adults also they don't have this mouth feeding mouth parts. They are atrophy. Atrophy is the absence of reduced mouth parts, so that they are not able to fly, feed. They can survive only a few days, 2 or 3 days. The using of energy is already stored energy. Okay, which is stored. This is the predaceous, mostly predaceous. Okay, next slide, please. Only you can found in the Western Ghats region. So, well, pristine water. You not found in the very big rivers at all. Okay, this is the distribution of the various families of stoneflies in the different states of India. Okay, we have also the 11 species of stonefly have been recorded in Tamil Nadu, and the remaining are very, very less. Okay, next slide, please. Kerala and Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, we have this lot of diversity. This is the Trichopteridae adult diversity. This is Hydrocyclidae, this is the Polycenteropodidae, this is the adults of the Trichopteridae. This is the larvae of Trichopteridae. Next slide, please. How this term is, this is a system group of Lepidoptera insects, the Trichoptera. They make the case. Okay, all the insects they make the cases. Clamoceratidae, Leptoceridae, Calamoceratidae, Clausosomotidae, okay, and Limnophilidae. They are making the small cases with the help of fine materials, fine sand particles. Okay, you cannot imagine that kind of, the wonderful cage that they make that they're living in, and then in this within the cage they are larvae living. The adults are come out in the evening. Okay, this you can go for this. Different stone particles with the stone particles construct a small case like, okay, the case worm like this is a Lepidoptera insects. Okay, this is sister group of Lepidoptera. Next slide, please. How diverse is that? Okay, how this diversity of different Phryganidae, Molanidae, the Placocenteropodidae, the Philopotamidae, Hydrophilidae, Clausosomatidae, Odontotheridae, Lilocyclidae, Hydrocyclidae, Leptosomatidae, Limnophilidae, and Polycenteropodidae, and other species are there. in this, they have constructed this, different kinds of nets opposite to the current. They are free living and they are eating with there's a leaf materials. Okay, the different ecosystems. You can see this the bottom of the ecosystem, and then the brim of the river, bank of the river, vegetation, and then there's a fallen leaf litter systems. How these different species are occupied in this aquatic ecosystem. This ecosystem is prepared with the pristine species. This kind of insect you can see in the Western Ghats regions. When you come down this Western Ghats, as a river, the Tamrabarni other river, okay, the Arjuna river, or this other rivers, you cannot get a single species there. Only few represented polluted species are there. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, what are the approaches to conservation of these the aquatic insects? Why this conservation is very, very important? So already I mentioned this. This is the one of the insects, very, very important species. It's linked with the human settlement, linked with the origin of life, which linked with the food chain of these various group of insects, which linked with the biodiversity of the world. Okay, that's why these insects are very, very important to conserve. Okay, on the basis of ecological approach, biotechnological approach, socio-cultural and legal approach. Okay, that is very, very important. See the ecological the approach. The first approach is the ecological approach. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, this is the reconciliation to ecology. Okay, this is the insect biodiversity conservation paradigm. Okay, so this insect assemblages in different environments. Okay, but for this, I already mentioned that how the single ecosystem, the single riverine or small stream system, how the diversity of insects are there in the underside of the stone, the rocks, the boulders, leaf litter systems, sandy regions. Okay, so the different habitats require the different diversity of insects. Then you can go for this. If you do any disturbance to the living habitats, okay, this is a losing of the biodiversity. High endemicity. Okay, you can find this. There were this lot of endemicity species. Endemism are there. Okay. And the species richness, diversity richness, okay, this is a large quantity of diversity of aquatic systems found. But when you are disturbing or any settlement or anything, you can go for the man-made the ecosystems that also losing this lot of biodiversity. Okay, so that is because of there is a lot of thread. Suppose if you say there's the pollution causes this over exploitation of the various species, okay, and over exploitation of forest, and ultimately indirectly it affects the diversity of insects. Okay, ultimately the fish populations get reduced. Okay, and finally the intrusion of this saline, the weed species into the surface of the water systems completely polluted. Okay, so that the pesticide impacts, already you know that how the Kerala streams and the forests are getting all the aquatic ecosystem, even the marine ecosystem also, how this polluted by their application of this various pesticide onto the controlling of the various pests in the Malabar coast regions. They are applying this a lot of chemicals to control the insect species like Helopeltis antony. This is one of the species which is a tea mosquito, which is damaging this cashew plantations. So that the cashew plantations, the whole from after you can start this Calicut to when you go for this Hawaiian region itself. Okay, there is a lot of the cashew nut plantation where they are pumping a lot of chemicals that run off these chemicals during the rain season, and then they are completely reaches the marine systems and aquatic systems. Okay, so that there is a bioaccumulation of these pesticides. It's also due to the cancer. Okay, bioaccumulation of these pesticides and the small organisms of this, the fish food chains, as well as the fish food and the small fishes are eaten by the larger fish and marine fish. Okay, that's all the accumulated lot of pesticides, which are when we eat this kind of the food material, marine seafood material that cause the cancer. So many things are happening. They cannot reproduce, they cannot the tumor and cancer, this all occur. Okay, that is and hereditary degradations, we are employing or they are constructing any small disturbances industries or they constructing small check dams or they constructing small houses nearby streams or this forest regions that also is lead to the threat to this the insect population and endemism. Okay, the endemic to India, the species can be invaded from this particular ecosystem. Okay, this impediment and the extinctions. This is the global warming. It's through the global warming. Okay, so that there is releasing a lot of the greenhouse gases. Okay, and they are all free to open this everywhere to go. Everywhere they made a very good road, and they're moving the lot of the automobiles. So that releases the lot of the greenhouse gases, and as well as we are exploiting this very good trees for indigenous trees. Now we can go for the monoculture. That also they cannot be able to absorb the sequestration of these carbon resources. So that also causes the one of the factors which leads to global warming. Ultimately, the global warming high runoff in the region. So that where there is the extinction of the species, okay, which is shrinking from this particular environment. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is the ecological approach already we discussed. The next one is the biotechnology approaches. Okay, this is the certain tools we can take it for the next generation sequencing analysis. Okay, this is the platforms lead to better representation of the sample diversity at a reasonable cost. We can do the different diversity of the species. Okay, sometimes even the single place or single region itself, there are the multiple composition of the same species, or we could not able to differentiate this either the species or not. Okay, we could go for the sequence study. We can make it this the different insect species. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the dual coalescent approach. This also the estimated species boundary. Okay, there's a branching of the diversity on the basis of the phylogenetic analysis. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is the phylogeography and the basis of this history of origin of species, where they are, how these species are distributed all over the world. What is the links between these different conditions, different the part of the world? Okay, we can analyze. And microsatellite, these are the old method, the microsatellite method. Now they can go for this different methods for the sequence studies. Okay, next. Okay, the genetics diversity. This also we could easily study the lineages among these species. Okay, evolutionary lineages. Okay, they represent certain morphospecies, morphologically cryptic species. The single species, multiple species look like the same species, but cryptically there is a small variation in this species. So that also is evolutionary significant unions. Okay, that's also very, very important for this analysis of genetic diversity in aquatic systems. Aquatic, not only aquatic, in the whole earth system. Okay? When we talk about the insects and the other vertebrates. Okay, next slide. Okay, genetic diversity within populations and species. The boys study the global climate change. Okay, already I mentioned that before the 1980s, we visited different parts of the Kerala and Tamil Nadu. I had visited the Karnataka, Goa, okay, and Maharashtra regions. Before that, the forest also highly pristine, okay, without any discrimination. Lot of sholas available. The elephants are crossing everywhere. Then there's no the Pakka roads, the only cheaper roads everywhere in the Western Ghats. Not much extending of the destruction of the forest, and then they are going for this cultivation of the various monoculture like plantation, and even upper, which is something with Kodaikanal you cannot find in the battle park, and then only the mixed forest, Shola, and you could go for this, those regions. What is called there is a pillar rock, and more than that, the regions completely covered with very good streams as well as fully covered. You cannot enter when you enter the forest. So you cannot get this light itself. It's always dark, that forest. Okay, even the streams also, it's excellent streams. Everywhere you can find the streams. Now, most of the streams, most of the small rivers are completely damaged by this modification of the land use patterns. That's why there is the drastic the diversity of the species, genetic variations, and 50 species diversity there in this universe. This is due to the global change, climate change. Then this is previously this is more than 2 or 3 degrees. Even this Bangalore and the next Mysore forest areas, more than 5 degrees are increased nowadays. Even this winter season itself. That much is the encroach the human activity and the industrial activities and other activities, which lead to the genetic losses of diversity populations. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is the genetic conservations modalities in the context of species laws leading to interspecific genetic diversity. Okay, this is the erosion of the global climate change. It's not this very, very big topic that we can discuss with it. It will also take 1 or 2 days to discuss this topic. This is enormous topics here. Interspecific, genetic diversity. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. Okay, this next slide. This is also the same thing. How climatic changes are there. This other project, how the diversity changes are there in this, and which is interfere with the ecosystem of these regions. Okay, that's why finally there is a species of certain cryptic species and anthropogenic pressure like hybrid fermentation, and which in fact is reduce the insect populations in these areas due to climate change. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Yeah, how genetic diversity can be integrated in studies of aim to predict the species response to ongoing and future climate change. Incorporation of this population genetics itself, identification of the unique evolutionary lineage, and pre-glacial species distribution modeling also they are doing that. But in India, they're not done it so far, but they are doing it in Western regions. Okay, so why these are important? I already mentioned that how this insect, the biogeographic and geographic regions are very, very important in the. You know that how this world should be. When you see this Gondwana Islands, where there is how this Africa and South America and North America was there, how this India is most of here. Okay, so there is a fragmentation in the Gondwana movement. Okay, so there is a chronological events in the breakup of Eastern Gondwana. It's a question of the Indo-Malagasy from this Africa, the 160 million years ago. Okay, how some of these representative species are in Africa. Still, we have some representative. The same kind of species are also available in India. Okay, so that we believe that how the India they are just break up from this East Gondwana, and then they moved to this Madagascar. This is only from the 50 million years ago. The collision of the Indian plateau, okay, with the Asian species, only the 50 million years ago. How this the worlds are occurring. Laurasians and Gondwanians, how this the mixing of even this Australian Grillam, it's different Grillam, you know that. Okay, so that from that, how this the India is vary with this hypothesis, Gondwana break hypothesis. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, assembly of a biota of the Indian subcontinent. This was done by Sill et al. In 2000 and all. Okay, you know this. This is before India, separate from the other Gondwanian fragments. India is just this fragmented after that, drifting northwards and transit to the land masses. So after that's polluted with the Asian countries. Okay, then only they are not. Okay, even this Sri Lanka also, there is a small broken or land mass. They are just more from this India. That's why the Indian species are most similar to this in Sri Lankan species. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this also same thing. All the different taxa in this in the Gondwana land. Okay, how this Gondwana land significantly moves and the Asian species that is called the Oriental insect species. Oriental insect species below the equator, 20 degree of equator regions. Okay, and the part of this below the southern part of China, Malaysia, Singapore, Thailand, India. Okay, this all this the Oriental Oriental regions where there is a significant there is a collision of this land mass. There is the mixing of taxa. Okay, next slide, please. This is not you are not much understand this. The next slide, please. Okay, this is the socio-cultural legal approach, this ecological approach and genetic diversity, biotechnology approach. This is a socio-cultural and legal approach. This also converts conservation ethics among these masses and a lot of the people should involve, and we can make the awareness for this regarding anthropogenic impacts and climate change and fragmentations and destruction of this of the forest and the land mass for this extinction of the species crisis. Okay. After that, a lot of scientists should involve, discuss about this augmentation of this interinstitutional collaborative research to bring out these modalities to enhance the water bodies and the forest regions to enrich the biodiversity in these aquatic systems. Okay, but even the relaxation of the legal and bureaucratic hurdles. Okay, even whenever we are the researcher, when we cannot enter into the forest without getting the permission from this government. Okay, even we have this Ministry of Environmental Forest project. We have to apply the entire every state, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Goa, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, everywhere we have to ask we have to enter the permission. We have to enter the forest getting permissions. It's essential. That too, it takes 1 year or 2 years to get the permission for the entrance to the forest. Okay, so that's kind of bureaucratic hurdles to be avoided. Okay, that we have to check out the program. Okay, collaboratively, and then we protect the environment. Okay, that the formulations and the implementation of the this integrated strategies for the conservation of the aquatic insect assemblages in these different regions of these aquatic ecosystems. Next slide, please. Okay, this is also there is a small modeling and prioritizations of conservation modalities. Okay, and this is the first you can go for this conservation priorities, ecosystem-based conservation priorities, species-based conservation priorities, and species-based. There is a great umbrellas that bring you to this the keystone species like phylogenetic relics, endemics, and keystone species. That's all bring into this one species based. And environment based, you can given the environment based, the adaptive management, respiratory the measure of these rivers and other regions. The national regions of the decision making. Okay, the decisions should be making through these regions where there is we can make them to the nation level and the regional level and the local level participation, and include for this conservation ethics. We have to develop for this bottom-up strategies for this conservation modalities. This is very, very important slide. Okay, this is whenever we can go for this. As your scientist, as your educationist, as your the teachers, professors, okay, you have to take this kind of the modalities. This is the different approach, ecosystem-based approaches, species-based approaches, environment-based education, and eco-biographic approaches. These all these together, put together in only umbrellas. Okay, so that we can develop a link with the top-up. So all these peoples, we are taking to all the things to the people. Then we can bring out this the entire ecosystem. Okay, as soon as to enrich the populations. Next slide, please. Okay, this is also conservation, biodiversity conservation. This integrative approach. Okay, gene bank, marker bank, rarity and chemicity, and keystone species, flagships, umbrellas, and distribution documentation. This all is very, very only is a very tiny number. We have this documentation here. Okay, the NGOs and other the national organization and the state level organization, regional organization should do together and then bring out all these statistics, the paleontology, genetic history, theoretical ecology, ecological relationship, conservation. These all these molecular phylogeny, biogeography. Okay, this all this climatic change, everything's put together, and then we can make the conservation. Next slide, please. Okay, this is the ecosystem monitoring powered by the environmental genomics. This is also reviewed by this Tristan Cardier. Okay, this is a very recent paper. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. This is we not go for this. All the genetic levels. Okay, next slide. The same thing. Okay, next. Okay, this is one of these establishment of these new species, core systems of fossilized paleoarctic species. Okay, how this phylogenies are important, which also linked with the first winged insects like mayflies. Okay, next slide. Okay, there is a scientific dilemma causing the impediment of the knowledge of sarcoids. What are the sarcoids? Linnaean sarcopal, Wallachian sarcopal, Bristolian sarcopal, Darwinian sarcopal, Rockrian sarcopal, Hutchinson sarcopal, Eltonian sarcopal. These are the different sarcopal. It's very, very important. The knowledge of this. There is a dilemma. Okay, each one is. I will think one is a 5 minute time. So I will come my session. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, this is the Linnaean sarcopal. This is the discrepancy between this formally described species and the number of species. Okay, they actually exist in this earth that can be completely thoroughly studied. Okay, for that now this ephemeraptor alone there is a site there. So they are brought into this everything discrepancy of described species, undescribed species, everything into one umbrella, and then they can go for the generic and species distribution. For this, the integrative taxonomy, so morphotaxonomy, as well as the classic taxonomy and the molecular taxonomy. Okay, next. Next slide. This also the same Linnaean taxonomy. Okay, how these insects are, these are very close there. Okay, next. These are the same families. Okay. Okay, these are these how these insects are distributed in the different elevations. Next slide. Okay, already this the altitude distribution of the Lepidopteran species in Kodaikanal. Okay, Kodaikanal from starting from this in this buffer zone in the ground regions too, and in the high elevated regions. How these insects are distributed? Okay. This also is a different family. One of the families, the BTDs are more distributed family. And next, the Lepidopteran. Okay, this all is a very good representative of pollution indicators. And this represents the forest health of ecosystem. Next slide, please. Okay, this is all this in the catalog for Indian stoneflies. This is the Kailash Chandra. This is the former director of this Zoology Survey of India. He was done this lot of work on these regions. Okay, only in the northern part of the region, but southern part very, very less. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, these are the lineage art for the niche spaces, the Libya beauties. I have done this. I am also one of the other parties. Okay, this species, one of the very largest species, which is the families contributing to the different ecosystem services. Okay, in Western Ghats, we have done this studies. We have published in this Zoology. So next slide, please. Okay, this all this lineage art called incredible diversity of the Libya beauties. The same thing with my colleagues, the Catholic, the Harsenbach. Okay, we also done this kind of interaction with those people. Okay, the European people. So on this side, for lineage. Okay, next. These are all recently published papers. Okay, this all this is recently published regarding this lineage art. Next slide, please. This is very, very tough to learn. This is a species, the eggs are the same species, the families, and they are different shaped structure, which also represent the taxonomical criteria for the identification of various species. Next slide, please. This is all the same picture. Okay, this is a validation shortfall. This was done by Dr. Selvakumar and Swaram Krishnan. Okay, where with the mother, this is the Madras University people, so the Rajori and Janathan. Okay, they lack of knowledge about the biogeographical distribution of the genera species. Okay, this we are also. I am also done the validation shortfall. We are preparing for this for my students doing a PhD in this validation shortfall. We will prove this validation shortfall. Okay, so that the knowledge of the geographical distribution of genera species in the entire Western Ghats regions. We are already submitted the report to this MIF. This is shortfall. Okay, and then different genera and species also we have included. More than 42 new species have been included in these studies. Okay, next. Okay, how this validation shortfall is how these insects are distributed. These are the oriental regions. Just you can see this the entire picture of the oriental region. This how these species are distributed. Okay, this is a very it's not easy to understand. Okay, when you are involved in this biogeography studies, and only we could understand this how this insects are distributed. Why these insects are distributed, how this the land mass of this India and other Asian countries are moved from this Gondwana movements. Okay, this always we can link with the biogeographic studies of this other insect species in all around the Asian countries. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is also the contribution knowledge of Nephrid genus Diloconella. This is one of the kind of next slide, please. The same thing. Okay, validation shortfalls. Okay, this is the Pristonian shortfall. This is the lack of knowledge about the abundance species. Okay, previously only diversity in species. Now abundance of species and population dynamics of space and time. How these populations are more in particular time. How does even this particular period of time. Okay, and then space and different regions of these West Ghats and India, how these insects are assembled like this. So this was done by Anbalagan and Dinagaran. Okay, Dinagaran going to speak in 3 days after. Next slide. Okay, next slide. Next, this all is the only abundance. Okay, this is a Darwinian shortfall. This also we have done a lot of work on this. Dr. M. Arnachalam Selvakumar Sundar, and they are from this Madurai. This is the MS University campus and Aquatic campus. Okay, enormous studies. Okay, there also done this a lot of work on this knowledge about the tree of life and the evolution of the species and their traits. And they do some sort of molecular studies. They are done. Okay, next slide. Okay, mayfly phylogeny, the phylogenomics also they are done by this one of the scientists, Adgan. Okay, he was supposed to produce a lot of comparison of a lot of species. We also more than 20 species are the species are documented, that is genetically sequenced, and then we are submitted to NCBI. Okay, this kind of studies is going to come next few months. Okay, about in these different journals. Okay, the phylogenomics of the mayfly studies. Okay, this is also very, very important. We can anchor the hybrid enrichment of the data of the other insights, aquatic insights. Next slide. Okay, this all this how these insects the aquatic insects are very close. Different families, the different genus, and the different families and species are how they are close. Okay, this is small. Okay, is dendrogram and the trees, which is it's related to the different species. Next slide, please. This also same thing is the analysis. This is one is the two Darwinian shortfall. One is the Phylogenomics systems and the Mechaphytic system. Phylogenomics systems are somewhat more complex than this Mechaphytic system. Mechaphytic systems are very easier. Okay, we can easy for the identification and we can go for this tree construction similarity model and we can go for the higher level of classifications done through the morphotaxonomy as well as through molecular taxonomy. Okay, next slide. Okay, this also Darwinian shortfall, DNA barcoding. Next slide, please. Okay. Okay, skip. Okay, you can go on. Okay. There's okay, this is the same thing. Okay. The aquatic conservation is molecular this approach. Okay, this is all the biogeography, ecological diversity of New Guinea. Okay, it's also done in the big regions. The same. This is there's some work on the spatiotemporal dynamics to believe is associated this is okay. Next slide, please. The Rockwellian shortfalls. This also another shortfalls is the parthenogenesis, predacating the alternative forms of the reproduction of mayfly. Okay, this also done. Then next slide, please. Okay, this is more complex to study, and then you cannot easily understand this. And Hutchinson's shortfall, this knowledge gap with the ecological functioning of the comparing to the tolerant species and the two abiotic conditions. We want to take the different abiotic factor and link with the ecosystem functioning, which is the species are tolerate this better environment. Certain species only living in this cool climatic condition, and completely canopy covered condition. Certain species open system but run off waters. Certain species only the lentic waters. Okay, these are all different knowledge gaps. We're filling up this with the help of ecological factors and how these insects are distributed. Okay, in ecologically. Okay, next. And ecological function. Ecological and function. Okay, this is all the Hutchinson's shortfall. This is the same thing. Okay, you switch over to another slide, please. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a Electronian shortfall. This is a new observation of these, the phoretic associations of Simulidae. Simulidae, you know, that's and the Heptagenidae. These are associated organisms. Simulium, you know, the black flies, which are which cause this yellow fever. That's mostly in polluted water, which is mostly prevalent the Simulidae. But along with this, only certain populations are Heptagenidae representative population. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, this is the divergent shortfall. Okay, this is related to limited knowledge of aquatic behavior in tropical regions. How this shortfall is highlights the need to have the more knowledge of insect behavior for improving the applied ecology as well as the biomonitoring program. Okay, so that this divergent shortfall is a very recent shortfall, which is 2019. And the next slide, please. After divergent, this is the final shortfall, divergent shortfall. Okay, some of these burrowing mayflies, which is indicating the ecosystem health status. These insects only the found well, okay, maintained forests and then pristine ecosystem without any disturbances, anthropogenic disturbances. That areas you can find these insects. Otherwise, you cannot find these insects. This is also linked with the biogeographic regions. Okay, this is the divergent shortfall. Next slide, please. Okay, women in freshwater science is very, very less in these areas. Okay, only very few people. It's very, very difficult to do the studies because they cannot go along with. They cannot go individually, or even 2 or 3 women. So they cannot go inside the forest because there is a lot of threats of the many fauna around the forest regions, so that it's threatening to the humans. Okay, so that's very, very only participation. Very, very few people are participated. But that all the bolded ladies which are coming along with us, and then they are publishing some papers. Only the few, very few people are coming along. There is a social problem for them, and then physiological problem for them. But we should not take them out without any other associate other females to the field. That's also very, very difficult for this involving this aquatic ecosystem monitoring, as well as the studies and the species diversity and abundance in these various forest regions. Okay, only we are sending the students in nearby ponds and landing waters. Okay, we direct them to collect this kind of insects, and then you record them. And there's also the 2 girls at the published 2 species 2 or 3 years back, and then after that, no one willing to do that kind of studies for this practicing, and then for this conservation and diversity purposes. Okay, finally, this is the one is a very good ecologist report that if we save this living bird, we will also automatically save the physical world, because in order to achieve the first, we must also achieve the second. But we are the sense, if you conserve this all the organism, and we can achieve the second, whatever we need, only the get accidents, bad food, when we food, the good water, everything we can get the second. Okay, but if we save only the physical world, which appear our present inclinations, we will ultimately lose them both. The first and second, if you're not concerned about that, we will lost everything. Finally, we have to beg for this, even a drop of water, and then beg for this even rainfall. Only the very little rainfall everywhere. Okay, that is in future we have to strain in this piteous situation, so that we could have the everyone of every individuals. Okay, we have to plan itself. You have to take them all things to your and kith and kins, your friends, your families, your neighbors. Okay, whatever we discussed here, we should take them everything to them and make them to understand how this aquatic system and how the forests are so important. How the forest, which is supporting us in this human society, in these regions, in this world, that is very, very important. Okay, so this is over now. So do you have any doubts? You can ask, or you can discuss.
Dear participants, the session is open for all. Participants, if you wish, you may post your queries in the chat box. Dear participants, the session is open for all for your discussion.
Yes, Maya, and can you ask any questions? Do you have any doubts regarding topic? As Maya raised your hand. Okay. Do you have any doubts regarding this topic, or you want to discuss with me? Anything? I think I feel that too much feed I have given in this lecture. Okay, until otherwise, if you have very much interested in the field of ecology, in the field of entomology, then only you should understand that. Okay.
Ma'am?
Participants, do you have any queries?
Ma'am, if there are no queries, you can go for the next phase, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
So I would like to take this juncture to propose the vote of thanks. I feel extremely grateful to thank our Honorable Secretary, APC Vichokalingam sir, and a respected principal, Dr. C. Veerabahu, for permitting us to conduct this one-week FDP program on recent trends in entomology. I would also like to thank Dr. D. Radhika, Head of the Department of Zoology, V.O. Chidambaram College, for a source of inspiration and support rendered for the successful conduction of this program. With great pleasure, I would like to thank today's resource person, Dr. Bala Subramanian, Associate Professor, Tyagarajar College, Madurai, for accepting our invitation amidst your busy hours of schedule. Thank you, sir, for sharing a vast knowledge on various diversity and conservation strategies of aquatic insects, by also explaining the different threats to the biodiversity of aquatic insects. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds and have showed us a different view on aquatic insects biodiversity with various sightings from the recently published papers you have quoted for us, sir. Thank you, respected sir. I'm immensely thankful to the organizing secretary, Dr. B. Geeta, Associate Professor, Department of Zoology, V.O. Chidambaram College, for her effort towards conducting this FTP. I would also like to thank my colleagues for their enormous cooperation and all the faculty members of various other colleges for participating in this FTP. With deep sense of gratitude, I would like to thank Dr. Gomadi Nayagam, Head of the Computer Science Department, V.O. Chidambaram College, for his technical assistance to conduct this FTP virtually. Hope this session would have been more informative and fruitful. Once again, thank you one and all for attending this FTP. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the given opportunity for discuss with my experience to everyone. Okay, if it is no